Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for checking into my YouTube channel again. Most of my subscribers are probably here for my Bible reviews, which is kind of my bread and butter on this channel. And we have another Bible to review today, the New King James Preaching Bible, thanks to Thomas Nelson. Now I do need to say that these Bibles were given to me gratis for my fair and honest review, so everything I say is just my objective analysis, but thank you to Thomas Nelson for sending them. That provides the viewer with the opportunity to check out some Bibles before they purchase them. Okay, so the Thomas Nelson New King James Preaching Bible. You're going to see here that we have two editions. They sent me both. We have the black premium calfskin and we have the brown premium calfskin. Let's go ahead and take a look at their external features. They are about the same. No raised spine hubs or anything like that. Just etching and gold embossed. No etching, I should say, just gold embossed over top. One of the problems with that is that eventually this is just going to wear off and you're going to have a very bald looking spine with no indented lettering or naming or anything like that. But the exterior does have the perimeter stitching, which is very, very beautiful. And of the two, I would say that the brown feels better to the touch. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more supple, a little bit more flexible. And the black one, for whatever reason, has a little bit more of a cockling noise when I open it than the brown one. This one just seems to be a little bit softer and more user-friendly, although the Bibles are virtually identical other than that. Opening them up, you can see that they are edge-lined Bibles, which means that the covers are tabbed onto the block. They're not paste down, and that means that you're going to get years of good preaching use out of these Bibles. They're Smythe sewn, of course, meaning that they're not going to fall apart like a glued Bible would. And they both come with 3 ribbons. This one in my hand here has the blue, the red, and the brown ribbons. Okay, now this Bible does not have a lot of study frills. It doesn't have a lot of maps. It doesn't have book introductions. It doesn't have a lot of charts or graphs or anything like that. But what you have in the Preaching Bible is exactly what you want to have, which is a verse-by-verse double-column reference edition. This, in my view, is supremo. It is the ultimate style and layout for preaching and teaching of the text, because you don't need all the other stuff. By the time you come into the pulpit, you are ready to go. You've got your sermon, you've got your manuscript, your notes. All of that work has been done. You don't need a lot of study stuff. What you do need is the perfect layout for preaching, and that, in my judgment, is the verse-by-verse layout that is given here. Okay, so let's make some observations of the text. We have 2 columns. We have all of our references down here on the bottom, and those are cued to the text with a nice blue lettering, so I can see where my references go. Verse here, reference here. The headings are blue, the big chapter numbers are blue, and your verse numbers are blue, as well as the name of the book of the Bible and the reference section at the top. This is perfect. I love it. This is the best way, in my view, to lay out a preaching Bible. The paper is opaque, it is white, it is very thick, and that means that the Bible is slightly larger than like a thin line edition is going to be. It comes in at over an inch, maybe an inch and a half, and it's 9 by 6. So this isn't a huge Bible, but it's certainly workable in the hand, in the pulpit, preaches well, holds well, no problems there. Now, I wish that more publishers would use the verse-by-verse style. Unfortunately, it's sort of going out right now with the advent of readers' Bibles, which eliminate all the conventions, even the section headings, sometimes even the chapters and verses, and many of them are single-column paragraphed, which to me is like the least helpful layout. I actually prefer double column, and I prefer verse by verse. So here's looking at you, Crossway. Why don't you come out with some better verse by verse editions like this? Crossway, of course, good buddies of this channel as well. But I would love for them to do something as well as this. Nice verse by verse, perfect for preaching. And why is verse by verse better for preaching than a paragraphed or a reader's edition? Well, because the eye is so easily and quickly drawn to the verse that you're making reference of. And if you're a preacher that works through the text in a verse-by-verse style, you're working through Scripture line by line, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, then it's easy for both the preacher and the hearer to follow along with what's being preached. And so in my judgment, that makes verse by verse the best layout for a preaching Bible. Now, you're not going to have much room for marginal notations here. And if I could have my druthers, I'd like to have a little bit of a wider margin here, maybe as much as a half an inch. This looks like maybe a third of an inch. I'd like a little bit closer to a full half an inch there for even writing down some simple words to cue me, to remind me what's next in my sermon. But you can't have everything. If you're going to have flawless, gorgeous, white, thick paper and a nice, big, bold font, then you're not going to have room for margins. That's just the way it works. The font, let's take a look at it here, was designed specially by 2K Denmark for the New King James translation. Thomas Nelson, they conscripted to be done some new fonts, brand new fonts for their new Comfort Print Bibles. The King James gets its own font. The New King James gets its own font. The NIV does too. And I really love this font. It's big, clear, it's bold. It almost looks like it's bold print to me. So readable. And when you're preaching or teaching, the last thing you want to do is lose your place and not be able to find with your eye quickly where you're going next in the text. And with a large font, bold and verse by verse style, of course, that's perfect for not losing your place in any way. So there you have it. There's not a lot more to say about this Bible other than that. The blue is delight to the eyes. It doesn't have a lot of stuff in the back. There's not a lot of back matter. You do get a few pages, not a ton of lined paper for writing some notes, maybe a couple of sermon outlines that you'd use regularly, or your Lord's Supper liturgy or something like that. You get this little note about the type designed by 2K Denmark. And other than that, this Bible is a little fleck there. What is that? This Bible is beautiful, and I could commend it to you, especially as a preacher or a teacher. Okay, so what I'm going to do, as always, is I'm going to post a link to Amazon in the description of this video, so you can just toggle down, click over onto Amazon, and you can purchase this Bible straight away. Thanks again to Thomas Nelson for sending this review edition. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing this channel if appropriate for you. And that's all I've got today. Love you lots and talk to you later.